I'm John Batchelor, Malcolm Hoenlein, Conference of Presidents, major American Jewish organizations. Iran, suspect nuclear weapons program. This, within these last days, I'm quoting from the Times of Israel report about the Geneva conversation between the P5+1 and Iran. I believe that if certain arrangements are done, it could even go down to 2 weeks. So there are a lot of concerns out there that Iran can hopefully now address in this new phase, both at the P5+1 and with the IAEA. The speaker of this quote, former IAEA Deputy Director Olli Heinonen, now joins us. He is a senior fellow with the Belfer Center at Harvard University's Kennedy School. Olli, a very good evening to you. 2 weeks, your concern about Iran and a bomb. Please explain carefully. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and thanks for having me. Well, this 2 weeks refers to so-called breakout time. It's not yet that Iran would have a bomb if it even decides to build it at this point of time. There are a lot of speculation what means a breakout time. Different people use these different definitions. But what I mean here, in 2 weeks, under certain arrangements, Iran has enough centrifuges, particularly of the new type, and enough enriched uranium to go and turn it to high-enriched uranium, which is weapons grade. But to make a bomb, it still needs to manufacture the components of the bomb, assemble it together, provided that it has all the designs, etc. That will take another 2-3 months. And this is the timeline for the breakout which Mr. Amos Yadlin from Israel has said. Some other people mean breakout time is the time which is required actually to manufacture a nuclear weapon which can be carried to the destination with the missile. This is what President Obama refers to, and that is already a timeline which might be more than 1 year away. So we have to be very careful when we talk about these terms.
And the 2 weeks you're referring to are to go from 3.5% to 90%. Can be done in 2 weeks with their centrifuges.
Actually, it's a 20% enriched uranium, which Iran has now more than 200 kilos. So when you turn that one with the new centrifuges on certain arrangements, you can do it in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you.
Do you believe that the statements that they have 10 tons of enriched uranium available at this time already?
Actually, they have slightly less. They have 2 sets of enriched uranium. One is this 3.5% enriched uranium, which you refer to. That's about 7 tons. And this amount of enriched uranium, you can also turn it from 3.5% to 90%. That will take, for the first nuclear device, about 2 months with the current inventory of centrifuges. And they have enough material for maybe 3 or 4 nuclear bombs of that type.
And could you comment, we see that there's almost no discussion of the plutonium plant in Iraq in what the U.S. is demanding, and we raised it at the White House, but what is your sense? I mean, once it's operational, this is not a kind of place you can bomb.
You're speaking about Bushehr.
No, Iraq.
Iraq.
Yeah, that is indeed true. That facility will be operational sometime next year, and as soon as this reactor starts to operate, it will produce plutonium. The core will be highly radioactive, and any action like a bombing will have quite an environmental impact, and I don't think anyone wants really to do that.
So what is the need for speed in the negotiations? Is this plan, P5+1 experts, P5 experts, et cetera, just buys into 3 months, 4 months, and then we're going to be faced with a fait accompli? Is it really essential now that the Western parties tell them we set a deadline and we got to have a deal by then?
I think that there are 2 things which the Western part should do. One is to stop the expansion of the nuclear program just now, which means no installation of additional centrifuges, no going ahead with this construction of the reactor. Just put both of those to halt. But this is not enough, in my view, for the beginning of the deal. What we need to know, what Iran has today, how much it has enriched uranium in the country, is there more what IAEA knows, where are the enrichment facilities, is this all what we see, what is in Natanz and Qom? And then if there are any activities related to plutonium and reprocessing. This should be the starting point of this negotiation. And once we have seen this one, then we can see that Iran is in these discussions in good faith, and then one can start to think and agree about the release of some of the sanctions activities.
Do you believe these are the only facilities after your experience as an inspector and being there?
I think we need really to see because the history shows that unfortunately Iran has not disclosed all its activities until now. And then we have these questions related to the military dimension, which the IAEA has raised the concerns already during the last several years. So in order to have the full picture and understand where we are, what we agreed to, this should be in the front end of the agreement and not somewhere half a year or 9 months from now, when then we will face a very awkward situation.
I want to restate that, Olli, because this can be inside IAE talk, all right? The sites that the IAE had access to and wanted access to in the past are non-military sites, sites that are said to be part of the civilian nuclear fuel business in Iran. What you never had access to, I believe, heretofore, and you need access to now to guarantee transparency, is access to the military sites as well as the non-military. Did I say all that correctly, Olli?
You got it exactly right. Wider access to both non-military and military sites to understand what has been going on and what is there. I think this is a must for a reasonable agreement.
Is that a part of the conversation, to your understanding, at Geneva right now, the military sites? Is that mentioned when they talk about relieving sanctions?
I don't think that they have disclosed all the details, but I assume that they are also part of the discussion. But the most important one is to know how much Iran has an enrichment capacity, where it is, how many centrifuges they have manufactured, how many has been installed, and where are the rest.
And what about the removal as part of a deal? Do you foresee that they have to dismantle the enrichment infrastructure and get it from abroad, like Canada, Mexico?
That is much more political question, and this depends on the deal and how they go about it. But the most important that at this point of time, the production of high-enriched uranium should be suspended. One has to decide what to do with the current stocks until Iran has restored its credibility and has removed the concerns of the international community about the scope and content of its nuclear program.
Olli Heinonen is a senior fellow with the Belfer Center at Harvard University's Kennedy School. 20% enriched uranium, 2 weeks with the centrifuges now in place, the arrays in Iran, 2 weeks to go from 20% to weapons grade 90%. Malcolm Hoenlein, Conference of Presidents, Major American Jewish Organizations. I'm John Batchelor.